So just starting with giving yourself a chance to settle in. First of all, just finding a posture that feels comfortable, supported, so that you can sit up, but without having to stiffen and to strain. And to start off with, at least, it's fine to be back in the chair. I'm sitting back. I've just got a little bit of support for my lower back. I'll move forwards in a few moments. Take a couple of slow, gentle breaths, and just give yourself a chance to kind of remember really what it's like to be able to sit without straining, but still with this upright position. Rubbing your hands together and tapping lightly over your face, just with the intention to encourage a little bit of movement, circulation, and blood and energy. Over your head and neck. Down to one shoulder. Like everything else in Tai Chi, this isn't just about the physical side of it, going down the inside of your arm, the outside. Bring your attention into your body, noticing how muscles and fingers vibrate a little bit with this tapping. The other side, down up the arm, onto the upper part of your chest. See if you can get that sort of slightly hollow feeling in your chest. And then light on your belly. Coming out to your legs, down the outside of your legs, up the front and inside. If you can, without straining your back or your shoulders, see if you can find that same sense of being supported with your weight a little bit forwards, tilting yourself forwards a bit so that a significant portion, about a third of your weight, will be felt in your feet. So between our feet and legs, our hips, and of course the chair, once again, we have this feeling of being supported. And it's always worth noting that in Tai Chi and Qigong, when we look at posture and when we look at how we move, the starting point is always going to be the lower half of the body, the feet, the connection to the ground, the support we get from what we call our root and our foundation, almost as though you're kind of looking up from the ground. So if you want to try and just loosen some of the tightness in your hips and your lower back, then it's no good if you're pulling them in, tightening, just to sort of push your shoulders up. And the hips will only start to drop when it feels safe for them to drop. And this is where the legs come in. Imagine if you were sitting in a chair that felt as though it was about to collapse. You wouldn't be able to release tightness. You'll be constantly on edge. So hopefully your chair isn't about to collapse, but we just try and look for the same sense of confidence in our feet, in our hips. That slight angle forwards means that your head and your weight come to a position above that space defined by your feet and your hips. So roughly about a third into that square, you think that your feet and hips are at the corners of that square. You might want to sort of just play about with that a little bit until you find a comfortable position. So less need for your back, your shoulders, your chest to tighten up. It doesn't mean that all the tightness in your body is just going to miraculously disappear. But it's the start of the process of getting the feeling of tightness beginning to just sort of drift away, drift downwards through your body, to kind of fall away. And as that happens, two things to notice that we want to try and maintain all the way through these movements. The first is that when we lose some of that tightness in the body, it feels like there's more space there. So things like breathing, all forms of movement, circulation, muscles and so on, have less restriction on them. And the second thing is that we still have a shape that is maintained. Think of your skeleton, so the bones of your legs, pelvis, your spine, your ribs, with the soft tissue of your body sort of draped over that. So one of the images I sometimes have is it's like a garment displayed in the shop window where it's draped over the dummy, and it's the dummy, the mannequin, that gives it shape and gives you an idea of what it actually looks like. But you wouldn't expect, if you saw a shirt or a coat like that, if you took it off, you wouldn't expect it to be stiff and hard. So it's the start of the process that develops a suppleness and an elasticity in the soft tissue of the body, and that ultimately leads us to be able to flow. So the three aspects of our body, the physical aspect of the movement, our minds, our awareness, because of attention to posture in this detail, helps to draw our awareness into our body, gives us the sense of being settled, and that in turn helps that awareness, and we can begin to bring quality of intention to the movements. And the movement itself, the flow, the energy, are all present and mutually supporting each other. If you do find, for instance, that your back begins to ache, then do sit back and rest. It can take a while for our bodies to condition to this posture, and even those of you more experienced, if you maybe normally you can hold this posture, but maybe, I don't know, maybe your back's a bit tired for some reason, and so it needs a little bit more support. That's fine. So when we start to move, we're trying to cultivate these qualities. So we don't want to strain or stiffen when we move. We don't want to push hard when we find a barrier. Just beginning to slowly turn your head. Almost as though those big muscles in your neck and upper back and shoulders are being very gently massaged by the wind. And then hands in front of your shoulders, pushing your elbows forwards and over. Initially, what we do when we meet resistance, when we meet a barrier to the movement, is we gently withdraw from that. And then we return to it and withdraw, and return to it and withdraw. Like water, like the sea wearing a cliff away, just in and out, in and out. So we gradually manage to extend our range of movement. Moving forwards, we might find in the process of doing that we want to just change our posture slightly.
Someone is at the front door.
So gradually we start to sort of erode away the tightness, the stiffness, and we get more space for movement. Now bring your hands down to your sides, slightly out, rotating your arms, a winding movement from your shoulders to your fingers. And then raising your arms, drawing your fingers back a little bit, like you're winding up wool or cotton. And again, a movement that comes from the shoulders, but done in a very soft way, with an intention to release tightness. So the quality of the movement is sometimes described as though you're gently massaging muscles. Go back the other way. Let your hands rest. Feel the weight of your arms on your shoulders. Gently tilt forwards on the bones at the base of your pelvis, so more of your weight goes into your feet. Weight still dropping down into the ground, and then use your feet to push yourself back. Trying to keep your back straight. This is not a back bend, so there's almost a straight line from shoulders to hips. I say almost, we don't want to sort of make it rigid. Feeling how when we move in the centre of the body, how it affects the whole of our alignment. Mostly it's your legs pushing your shoulders back, but there's a slight sense of pulling on your hips, as though somebody's taken hold of your belt and kind of pulled you back in the chair. And that's the feeling of the pull of gravity on your hips. So as we get more experience with this, we begin to realise that rather than having to strain against gravity, with the right kind of awareness, the right kind of posture, we can actually make use of gravity to help us come to the upright position. If we use an image like moving through water, which is perhaps the most common image we find in Tai Chi, we can begin to get this sense of a pressure against the front of the body as we go forwards, against the back as we go back, and begin to feel that flowing through the body as we go forwards and backwards. And then from the upright position, make a little turn so more of your weight goes towards your feet. So in several planes, both the vertical one and the horizontal one, beginning to appreciate the significance of what's happening in this area, your pelvis, your hips, your waist, the centre of your body. An area which becomes an increasingly important and regular point of focus for our attention. One that we begin to associate with these qualities of rooting down, dropping of the centre of gravity, and also a sense of just a gathered, calm attention in that area. On the other side. And then just rolling your pelvis around, bringing your weight around in the circle from hip, to foot, to lower foot, and so on. Your head circling within, again, the boundaries of that square that we find our feet and our hips at the holding the corners of. So not too big a movement. Feeling the back and spine gently massaged by the movement, not strained. Then back the other way. coming back up to this higher position. And then raise one foot, step out, put your heel down, lower the ball of your foot, pressing in gently, planting the foot, pull back. Measuring the steps so your knees not locked out and that you're able just to apply this gentle pressure, pushing the foot into the floor. Really feel the contact with the floor on the ground. And once you've done that, once again tilt forward so more of your weight goes into that foot. And then both feet will push you back, hips dropping back. When we learn to move more effectively, using our feet, using our legs, and in the chair using our hips, we're much more likely to be able to maintain good structure while we're moving. Now, change sides, stepping out first of all with what we call an empty step, no weight following on. And then easy forwards. And alternating from side to side, noticing how your upper body sort of shifts slightly, turns a little bit to accommodate that. And again, becoming aware of very subtle aspects of posture and movement, aspects that we're more likely to be able to bring an attention to and an intention to. And they become the building blocks of the bigger movement. So this is the way into how our minds can affect our movements, postures. One more time. Bring your feet parallel. So, as we go into the main body of exercises, we're going to be using the upper body a lot more. But we don't want to lose this awareness of what's happening in hips, in legs and feet, movement of our weight, turning in the centre. These remain the foundation for all of the movements. So, bring your hands back out to the sides, palms forwards, rolling your forwards into your feet, rotating your arms. It's called bird folds its wings. Then this time, from the forward position, leaving your hands facing backwards, drawing them through, just letting them swing from your shoulders, just fisherman casting net. Try not to lead with your arms. It's very common to find ourselves doing this and then maybe moving the weight. It's the opposite way around. Your weight moves, your shoulder goes forwards, and as you settle down into this forward stance, that's when the arms swing through. And we come back, feel ourselves sinking into the hips, and that's when the arms swing through. We often have a temptation to move our hands more, and with this exercise to make them higher. If you really want to do that, the way to do it is by bringing an awareness and an intention to those small changes within the body. So first of all, what you have to do is just begin to learn to recognize the patterning within your body that is associated with this movement. Patterns of pathways, if you like, movement, patterns of expansion and contraction. So fishermen cast the net. Next time from the forward position, leaving your arms out here, and as you come back, just notice how they're drawn over, pulled rather than lifted for the moment. Imagine there's a ball underneath your arms. You're just rolling the ball towards yourself. Trying to get a sense for that rising movement comes up through your feet and your legs. We go forwards, legs get compressed, like squeezing in a ball. But then it expands, and we start to feel that expansion up into our belly, and then into our solar plexus, and then into our chest. A clear exercise showing us the sort of progression that we look for in all the movements in our bodies. How the principal energy, not the only one, but one of the key ones, seems to arise from the ground through our legs. Do one more of these. From here, turning your hands palm in, and that rising, expanding movement, pushing your arms away, giving you a little bit of extra expansion in the front of your body, especially your chest and your ribs. Try and just imagine your ribs as being like a folding door. So here, the hinge, the sternum, almost pushes out a little bit, and as you go forwards, recedes, you feel the rib cage sort of holding inwards a little bit. The expansion and contraction, the opposite way round in your upper back. So this can have a very profound effect on our breathing. And trying to get away from a way of, an unconscious way of thinking really, that our chest is solid. The rib cage is supposed to be spacious to allow for the lungs to expand. The rib cage should feel supple. One more time. And then sitting back this time, your elbows still go out a little bit, but the push is straightforward. Your hands stay in line with your hips. This is pushing waves, so that wave-like movement between hips and feet, providing the energy for the movement, an energy which we learn to shape, if you like to think of it like that, to mould through our upper body, particularly our arms. Not straining to do that, and particularly again, those of you a little bit more experienced, as you get to know the movements better, one thing you can do is just have this sort of idea, this image of a particular movement in your mind. So it has to be obviously a movement that you know fairly well. And there's just a gentle intention that your body's going to flow into that shape. Now, this time as you come back, turn slightly, step out with the foot, plant the foot, push forwards. Coming back, plant that foot down, turn in the other direction. Trying to be very clear about the actions that you're taking and trying to make them deliberate, intentional. Noticing, for instance, here, up and down your back and in your spine, there's a very subtle expansion and then a contraction. Once again, as we get more familiar with these patterns, we're able to bring an intentionality to them, which means that our minds can have a direct influence on our movements. But nothing is false. This is not mind over matter. But we can, for instance, imagine that expansion and contraction that we feel in many parts of the body, just gently moving into, I don't know, that if you've got a tight spot in your shoulders or your back or something. One more on each side. And then make a loose fist with the fingers, and this time bring your elbows back towards your hips and then push away so your elbows aren't going out anymore. And that means that actually if I just move my arm, it's a very small movement, I don't want to lock my elbow out. And if I want more movement, that's where, again, that movement of our weight forwards and backwards is used. So we start to feel a sort of expansion that starts in the ground, comes up through the back, out through our arms, and then contracting back in. Our body resonating and moving as one unit. Open your fingers, wind your arms out, and back in, finishing with pushing away. This time, when you come back, you wind your hands in, turn them palm down, turn your body, once again extending forwards through your back and your spine and then through your arms, swinging across, back in to the centre. It's called polishing the table. Turn the other way. So again, back lengthening spine, over into your arms and into your fingers. One more in each direction. And taking this awareness of small changes in movements arising from the ground, moving up into our upper body and finally our arms. A series of more vertical movements. So you're pushing the ball up and then pressing it down into water. Feeling this pattern of expansion and contraction in the middle of your body. It's a regular pulse that underpins the other movements. And here, when we pay attention to it, we can feel it pushing down, so it helps us to maintain our root as our arms and our upper body extend outwards. Rotating your arms so your fingers point away from your body. Some of your arms being pushed out sideways, swinging up nice and smoothly. This is the wild goose. One more time. Easing forward so your hands swing in front of your knees. Sitting back, sinking down into your hips and expanding. This is part in the clouds. Now, letting your hands drop down, letting the weight of your arms hanging from your shoulders. Focusing on one side of your body, feeling the expansion there, pushing up, and not all the way, your elbows should remain a little bit bent. Wind your arm around, pull down, like you're plucking a leaf off a tree. Feel again the weight of your arms, the weight of your body and your hips, and then on the other side, dragon plucks the stars from the sky. And again, feeling the weight of the shoulders, the weight in your hips. And we find when we do that, when we notice those little moments of settling, that it really helps to regather, quieten our attention. But often by this time you might find that your thoughts have drifted away. This is quite normal, or you're a bit sleepy, again quite normal. This just enables us to reset. One more time. From this position with your arms hanging down, just bring them up, trying to lightly touch the side of your hips with the inside of your arm, and extending, lengthening through your back and your spine. So you're just gently pressing up at a low ceiling. And then back down, once again seeing if you can lightly touch the sides of your centre. And push out. An expansion out from and back into, once again, the centre part of your body. And this time as you push out, return in that part of the body and notice how it redirects our arms. Turning back to the front, letting your hands get drawn back in and then push out on the other side. And then back facing forwards and push out. So I'm pushing in 4 directions. The first one is upwards, expanding and contracting. And then pushing sideways with the turn. To the other side. And then push it out. Extend one foot, rest it on the heel, knees still bent. Easing forwards, lengthening through back and spine, through arms and fingers, and let your hips drop back. Feel the expansion again, up through the front of your body. This is scooping the sea and looking at the sky. So quite a tricky movement. Be careful with your back. Once again, a key aspect of the posture and the way that we bring our head and the shoulders up is going to be that sense of pulling on our hips. But we also push a little bit from this grounded leg, and we feel that movement, that energy rising up within the body. Changing sides, first of all, scooping the sea, looking at the sky. Reminding yourself of that quality of feeling supported that we found right at the beginning of the session. And again, an intention, an instruction, if you like, from your mind to your body, that this is what we want to feel. Ideally all the time, but certainly when we get to here. So we're coming back to that. And again, on its own, it's not going to be the whole story. Intention is not the whole story, but it's an important aspect of it. We may begin to notice things in our posture that will be useful to change. Now, rolling your fingers into a hollow fist, going forwards, just letting the arms follow, just grasping the tiger's ears. There's a little bit of expansion in your rib cage here. Very quickly contracts, helping to draw your arms over. Bring that foot in, change sides again, and then grasping the tiger's ears on the other side. Trying to keep your upper body in line with the direction of your leg. Don't go out here. If it's inside your leg, like this for instance, that shouldn't be a problem. But when we get out here, we're then sort of like we're hanging on a cliff edge. We've lost the support of the leg. So the positioning of our feet and our hips go a long way towards defining how far we're able to move whilst maintaining that smoothness, that flow. And then come back to the basic sitting position. Again, taking a few moments just to let yourself settle into this, getting to know the feeling of our body when it's supported and in line, when our centre of gravity has dropped. This is the quality that we refer to in Tai Chi as central equilibrium. Chinese term is Zhongding. And this is the quality that we will look to try and reproduce standing. But the structure is going to be different, but the feeling in the upper body will be the same. The feeling that we're looking for is the same. Before we stand, just rubbing your hands together again, preparing for the standing, tapping over your face. Over your head and neck. Down to one shoulder and your arm. And on the other side. On the upper part of your chest. Down to your belly. And your legs. And then just to sort of wake your legs up, pushing your heels up. Blood circulating through the big muscles of your legs before we try and stand on them. And circling around. Back the other way. Okay, now stand in if you wish to. So we have an idea of what we would like to feel like when we stand. This doesn't make us immune to the laws of physics. Gravity is still there, so we still need to think about structure. And in the standing posture, essentially what we're looking for here is this straight line from shoulder to hip again, but also now extending down to our ankle. Your weight a little bit forwards, hips dropping back. Still that sense of support from your skeleton. So again, like the garment in a shop window draped over the mannequin. And in this position, letting your pelvis hang down from your hips and letting that pull your weight down a little bit until you feel the compression in your legs pushing you up, the body expanding upwards and then sinking down. Sinking down, this is rooting down. Letting your centre of gravity drop, bringing your hands around as though you're cradling the ball, pushing up and sinking down. So we want our centre of gravity to be as low as possible for stability. This helps to release tightness from the body. And when we push up, we don't want to lift the centre of gravity. It's like a plant with its root. It grows out of the root, it doesn't lift the root up. And then change into the standing version of the wild goose. One more time. And then parting the clouds. And small. And coming back to standing, get that feeling of your centre of gravity dropping. So once again, just changing your perspective. So have a sense of being aware of your posture from the ground upwards rather than from your head downwards. Give your legs a little shake. Right. So changing the stance. Turn one foot out, step forward with the other foot. Notice that there's still that space between my legs, and as we did in the chair, but this time from foot to foot, just gently letting the weight move forwards and backwards, giving yourself a moment to settle each time, so don't hurry the movement, and just be aware that when we move from the ground, so that again this perspective of from the ground upwards, we're more likely to be able to maintain the structure of our body. Imagine if you have a pile of books on a table and you want to move them. If you were to just push on the top top two or three books like that, then the whole pile is going to collapse, isn't it? But if you push at the bottom, it's more likely to remain stable. Going into your back foot, raising your toes a little bit. You can have the front foot turned out just a little bit, going forwards, pushing your back knee in. As you do this, feel how your body makes an extra little shift, bringing your upper body more in line with your supporting leg. Until you find this quality I described as central equilibrium, the stability, the alignment over one leg, enabling you just to take a step in. When you push back, it's the ball of your foot goes down, then the heel, then press in gently, and then when it's the front foot, it's your heel that goes down first. Just making sure that you've got that contact with the ground. So now try that with your other foot forwards. First of all, just what we would call in Tai Chi fixed step. You're not raising your toes or your heel at this point. And then you can begin to do that, feeling that slight extra shift, maintaining the alignment of your body as you do. Try not to lean forwards or backwards here. Stepping in. and then take a few steps through, forwards or backwards, depending on where you have the room. Planting the foot carefully each time. Each time giving yourself a moment to feel that quality, central equilibrium, the root, the alignment, the stability. Change direction. Okay. Now, have your right foot forwards and start with your weight in your back foot and the standing version of fisherman cast a net. So one key difference between seated and standing is that we keep this vertical alignment. We don't tilt forwards here. Moving from the ground helps us to do that. Our arms just swinging very freely and smoothly. A gentle curve in the movement. This time as you come back, turn a little bit to your left. Let that curve just rise up a little bit further, no higher than your shoulders. Coming back forwards and down, letting your hands across your hips, curving upwards and down. Tracing out this horizontal figure of 8 movement. And again, just this sense of having the shape and letting your body flow through it. Okay, then changing sides, so starting off with fisherman cast a net. Turning into the figure of 8 movement. And combining this with the step in that we just did. So as you turn the front leg and your hands come up, bring the back foot in, or the opposite way around if you're going backwards. Plant the foot, transfer the weight forwards. Same thing here. And if it's comfortable for you, but only if it's comfortable for you, don't strain for this. You may want to just raise the knee a little bit. And then going back, changing direction. One more time. and bringing your feet parallel. Good. Then go back to your chair. Coming back to seated posture, the supported posture, central equilibrium. If you need to sit back, of course, do that. You'll see me sometimes doing that, certainly. So, a comfortable position, letting your hands drop down, and then embrace tiger, return to mountain. Pushing out, bringing your arms around as though you're going to wrap your arms around the ball. Drawing your hands in, and then a strong feeling of sinking from your shoulders right down through your hips into the ground. Thoughts just settling and starting over again. One more round. And then rest in this final position. Just open your eyes. Thank you very much, everybody, as always. So, hope that was useful to you. And enjoy your afternoon. Bye for now.